Okay, what's up? I'm going to show you a game of chess. This is, I think, sometimes called Morphy's Immortal game, where he played against, so Paul Morphy played white, Adolf Anderssen, a German player they're both very good attacking players, I think. I think this was in 1858, it was a casual game. Okay, so Morphy played e4, attacking the center, whatever, e5. And then Morphy played f4. So this is sort of the king's gambit, offering this pawn for free in order to open up the f-file, and then common moves for white are bishop c4 and knight f3, very quickly trying to bring pieces out and then sort of keep moving forward and attacking the f7 pawn. It's often common to sacrifice the bishop on f7 and then bring the queen out, maybe to h5. Sometimes you castle kingside and then the rook's on that line. Anyway, it was a popular opening back then in the 19th century, very aggressive attacking sort of opening. It's not as common now with masters, but anyway, so black accepted the offer, which he doesn't have to, there's other options. Anyway, white played knight to f3. The other main option would be maybe bishop to c4. There's other options. This one's good because it defends against the queen coming to h4, which is one of the main weaknesses. This diagonal is sort of very weak. The only thing that can defend it is the pawn. This bishop isn't helpful and this knight can't do anything from here. So anyway, black played g5. I think Bobby Fischer famously said that refutes the king's gambit. It sort of shows that the king's gambit doesn't work. So there are other options, but I guess white can continue his attack with those. But anyway, here white often plays h4. I'm not really an expert on this. This game, actually, I gotta admit, it was a bit confusing in the end. But anyway, this immediately challenges this pawn and puts pressure on it. Anyway, so g4 is the usual response, attacking the knight. One thing, there's this Grandmaster Simon Williams, he suggested from some chess.com videos, it's best to keep moving forward with the attack, and I find that helps. I usually win or do well when I can manage to follow that advice. So knight to e5. I think knight to g5 is also quite possible, but yeah. Now I'm not sure, I don't know the situation. I guess that threatens this pawn, so black wants to do something. So he played knight to f6. That doesn't really defend the pawn because it's got two attackers. The queen's attacking it as well, but it attacks this pawn. Now I don't know, this already seems like not a super complicated position, but there's multiple options. It feels like developing and protecting that pawn makes sense to me, but I don't think that gets played very often. Bishop c4 makes sense to me as well, but anyway, white decided to take the pawn here. Now, I guess black could trade, but then, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna have to go through the game because I don't fully. So knight takes e4. Now again, it seems like white should maybe develop the bishop or the knight or something. He plays d3. Attacking the knight, I guess encouraging it to go back, but black moves forward. This is a good position for the knight. It's sort of hard to get rid of because this pawn is supporting it. Well, not really. I guess the bishop can take the pawn very soon, but it's threatening the rook. Now this is pretty cool though. This is a typical sort of Morphy thing to do. Not even worry about the rook. I mean, you could move it here or something. Threatening to take the knight once the pawn's gone, but he just plays bishop takes f4. That's crazy, man. I'm just saying, yeah, you can take that rook, that's fine. This partially works, like, for a couple of reasons. Once the knight's in the corner, it's not always, the knight can often get stuck there. So it's only really winning an exchange, and it's also way off on the corner of the board, not involved, and sometimes moving forward and attacking works better. Anyway, black takes the rook for free at the moment, but there's also a combination. So hopefully you can see. So the bishop is attacking this pawn, which is only protected by the queen. That's a slight weakness. This space is sort of weak because the pawns on the other side are gone, so the knight can jump in and check. Only the queen is protecting that. And also the e-file is open, so the king can be checked. So you can try a few different combinations, but white plays queen e2 check. Now I'm pretty sure someone said, let me just look at it briefly. If they block with the bishop, I think that might be checkmate. That's what they said. I think even just knight, that's check. The bishop would be pinned, and then bishop there. That looks like checkmate to me. I don't think anything can block it. Alright. So, yep, black blocks with the queen. And then there's a nice combination. Knight to f6 check. The queen's pinned. King has to move. And now this is sort of, what do you call this? Kind of like a distraction or a... You're pulling a piece away. So check with the bishop. The king can't go back because of the knight, so he has to take it. Now white can't take the queen yet because it's still protected by the bishop, but now this knight fork works. And of course Morphy would have calculated all this before he sacrificed the rook. So it's not really a sacrifice, it's sort of an exchange. I think the king moved back. Hopefully I'll remember this game properly. Takes the queen. Black takes back. It's, I think, a good idea to just stop and look at the pieces a bit. This is not... There's still, like, all these pieces haven't even been developed. These ones, bishop is sort of stuck. So, okay, rook, knight, bishop, rook, knight, bishop. That's fair. And then a queen versus bishop, knight, and rook. This is actually better for black. The queen is not generally considered as strong. So the next moves are important. This move looks strong at first to me because it attacks the rook, it puts the queen in the center, but it's very vulnerable because it's in the same line as the king, and I think rook to e8 makes that just, it's too dangerous. The queen needs to move. And then there's a threat of like a double check here or a double check here. It's too dangerous. So whoops, what am I doing? Okay, so instead the queen moves here, I guess partially to prevent the knight from escaping. The knight is sort of stuck in the corner, and then hopefully the queen can come. I don't completely get it though, because black's next move, he played d6. So this attacks the queen, obviously, with the bishop. So I'm not sure why. It just seems like there's other squares to move to that are, like, why didn't white go here, for instance, attacking the pawn and achieving... I don't fully understand this game. And even that move, the queen was there, even that move, like, why not d5, just like being a little bit more aggressive, and then here it prevents the bishop from moving. So anyway, this is not a game it doesn't make full sense to me. Now, where did white play? I think white just shifted to the side, still preventing the knight from getting out for now. Protecting this pawn from the bishop and threatening this pawn, sort of. Black plays this. I feel bad. I don't fully understand. I guess threatening to get the knight out finally, or yeah, I don't think bringing the rook here makes any sense, but threatening to save the knight. So white takes the pawn here, threatens the rook. And I guess, yeah, now that's sort of making it so this knight can't get out so easily. And if the rook leaves the back rank, then, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't fully understand. Anyway, okay, bishop takes h4, check. The king pretty much needs to move. Moves here. And then rook to e8. So threatening, bringing the bishop here is now quite dangerous. That's a check. Obviously black can move, but again, now that the bishop's here, it's threatening that the knight can get back. Once the knight's back in the game, I think a critical thing, when you've got a queen versus several small pieces, a lot of it comes down to whether the pieces can work together well. If they work together well, the queen's got no chance. But if the pieces are clashing or just so separate, here these pieces are all separate, then the queen has a good chance. Advantage. Now, Morphy plays knight to a3. I don't really get... It seems funny. Knight to c3 makes more sense to me. It just seems more central. The knight can come in here. or here. Either one sort of threatens checkmate there with the queen, or here as well, blocking the rook. Anyway, played knight to a3, maybe to come here, but even that, again, I don't know why black didn't play d5. There's a lot of things I don't fully understand. But anyway, this opens up the rook, helps development. And just as a rule, it's usually silly putting the knight on the side of the board. It's just not as involved in play. It's less likely to be useful. It has less squares. From here, it only 1, 2, 3, 4 squares that it's affecting. From here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All 8. So twice as many. Anyway. Okay, what did black play? I feel like, yeah, black made a mistake here, I think. Yeah, actually, officially, I think it's a mistake. Knight to g3 makes sense to me. At least trying to save the knight, even if it doesn't perfectly do it. Because I think white has, I don't know, something like maybe that. Attacking the bishop, and then if the bishop moves, attacking the knight. I'm not sure, but it just seems like a reasonable try. Or developing the bishop or something. But anyway, he develops the knight again to the side. I don't really get that. I'm not sure why not. c6. This also seems more vulnerable. Maybe to protect this square, so that if he does that, this square is sort of protected. Anyway. Okay, sorry, something happened. So continuing. Yeah, so white, I think I missed that. White plays queen to h5, so threatening the bishop and the knight at the same time. Sort of a double attack. But what did black play here? So yeah, I guess black can't save both. I don't think it's possible. So black plays bishop to f6. I think that's makes some sense. It's attacking b2, which would then also double attack the knight and the rook here. As a counterattack. So again, this game doesn't make full sense to me. White takes the knight, which again seems, I wouldn't say like I understand Morphy's style of play. He's just a very good player. It makes, you know, very accurate moves. But anyway, he takes the knight. It just seems weird. I always feel like he's more likely to move forward or make threats. But yep, takes the knight. Apparently this is a mistake from what I've heard, but I don't fully understand this game. So bishop takes b2. That makes sense to me. That's the thing he just threatened a move ago, so it makes sense to follow through, to attack the rook and the bishop and the knight. But they're not in too much danger. So white plays queen to h4, putting the king in check. I guess like something like that would probably be bad because white can jump in with the knight. I haven't looked at this in detail. Let's say black goes there. Trying to think. Can white? See, I'm not sure. Yeah, I can't even tell. To what degree? Maybe white can play rook to b1. This just looks dangerous. Black doesn't seem very safe there. But anyway. So instead he plays king to d7. And then white plays rook to b1. So saving the rook. And then it looks like this knight is just hanging, but it's not really. But anyway, Adolf Anderssen takes it. And then the obvious follow-up was queen to a4. Check. Implying that white's about to take the bishop. But black resigned here. And it doesn't make complete sense to me. White does seem better, but okay, they both got 4 pawns. Okay, rook and bishop versus rook and bishop. So basically after wherever black moves, let's say there for now, white takes the bishop. Basically white has a queen compared to a knight and a rook, which is close-ish. I think the queen is considered like 9 points compared to a rook's 5 and a knight's 3, so it's like a 1-point advantage. But the position might be evaluated by computers as a bit more than that. One reason I put the king here, it actually seems more vulnerable there, but at least it lets the bishop out and protects this pawn. But even, I don't know, white can maybe put the pawn here, threatening to put the bishop here, and just basically he's got a simple plan, is to put pressure on this pawn. I'm not sure if it moves forward, then this knight is, I mean, I don't know, and then he could develop the knight. It seems like he could do stuff, but I guess his king's in an awkward position. Maybe the queen can attack the rook and the pawns, or the, yeah. So anyway, but black resigned. I honestly don't fully understand it, but it's kind of a cool game. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's a bit confusing. Alright, I'll leave it there. Bye.